Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Social Climbing series. Today, we are going to talk about how black women do not support other black women. Vanita has lost 400,000 followers on her social media. I didn't even know that that was possible. I've never heard of that. And then on top of that, Miss Keke Palmer recently got canceled because she created this show called Southern Fried Rice, where it is starring an Asian woman. I don't know if she's supposed to be Asian American or what, but in the clips I saw, she was going from kind of like this Asian accent to like this black accent. So this proves my talking point, which is that the problem that a lot of black women have is not colorism, texturism, or featureism. A lot of times that is internalized. The real issue is that black women don't support other black women. A lot of dark skinned black women who look like Fanita or they look like Keke Palmer, they don't want to support the projects of those women. And also, let's talk about Keke Palmer's show, Southern Fried Rice. Why do you think she casted an Asian woman? It's because it's more interesting. She already knows that most black women, who are her main audience, they're not gonna watch an unambiguous dark-skinned black girl going to an HBCU. They don't give a fuck about that. They want to watch light-skinned women. They want to watch biracial women like Yara Shahidi. They want to watch TV shows like Mixedish or TV shows like Grownish or shows where it features a lot of multiracial main characters. And so Keke Palmer, she made the business decision to have a show where it has, an Asian main character because it creates kind of this multicultural type of show. Everybody wants to be multicultural. I said what I said. Oh, well, Exoticals United, you guys are putting yourselves on a pedestal. Okay, well, I said what I said. Everybody wants to be multicultural. So why would Keke Palmer make a show with an unambiguous black girl with 4C hair being the main character, showing herself in her natural state? Keke Palmer is smarter than that. Keke Palmer is a woman who gets made fun of herself. She has been made fun of throughout her career for her appearance. And by the way, they are now accusing Keke Palmer of bleaching. I just wanted to put that out there as well. They're the most recent people that are being accused of bleaching. It's Keke Palmer and Tiana Taylor are two of the girls that are being accused of that right now. So it's like, no matter what a black woman does, other black women are going to criticize her. And I've also noticed that there is a cultural phenomenon where a lot of women who watch creators like Fanita or creators like Keke Palmer, a lot of black women, they don't want to see what's relatable. They want to see what's aspirational. They want to see something different. They don't want to see their own reflection or their own image as the main character. So her choosing this story called Southern Fried Rice, where it's like an Asian woman, that was just her making a business decision. That's not erasure of unambiguous black women. Oh, and by the way, let's talk about that. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, black women who are dark-skinned, they're being erased from Hollywood. Okay, well, Keke Palmer is dark-skinned, and she has a show now, so why are you guys now trying to erase Keke Palmer's show? I see it going viral all over TikTok. People are saying, oh, it's a 0 out of 10. The quality is bad. The production is bad. And it's like, okay, would you say the same thing about like a show created by white people? Or if everybody in the cast was white, would you be talking about it this much? Would you be trying to cancel it this hard? No, you wouldn't. You're doing it because it's Keke Palmer. It's someone that you view as being adjacent to your phenotype. So that's why you're trying to talk shit and essentially cancel it. And it's hilarious because back when Grownish came out, I think that's the name of the show with Yara Shahidi. Back when that show came out, people were complaining and they're like, oh, well, everybody's light skinned. That's not fair. You got to make some shows where there are more dark-skinned people. And by the way, there are movies and shows with darker-skinned people. Look at Tyler Perry. He has a lot of movies that have dark-skinned people all over the movie. But then people are like, oh, well, no, that's stereotypical. And it's like, okay, so which one is it? Do you want people to meet these stereotypes and these caricatures of blackness or not? So I wanted to talk about this with the Exoticals because this is another example of what not to do. This is another example of a bad social climbing tactic. It is making the wrong people famous or drawing attention to what you don't like as opposed to uplifting what you do like. If I don't like something, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm just going to scroll past it or I just hit do not recommend. I never heard of this Southern Fried Rice show until people started talking shit about it, saying that they wanted it to be canceled. Also, they're bringing Keke Palmer's name and they're dragging her, trying to make it like, like she sucks, or they're basically trying to downplay her talent, which I think is interesting. That's a form of internalized colorism. It is, because I don't see them keeping the same energy with like white women who try to produce movies. So why are people going out of their way to drag down someone who happens to be black? Why are they going out of their way to unfollow a content creator like Fanita, for example? Why did they go out of their way to make fun of Francesca Withers specifically? These are all women who have not really said or done anything anti-black. Yet you have their audience using their own internalized anti-blackness against these up-and-coming black women. So that's an example of a bad social climbing tactic. They don't know how to stay on code. Us exoticals, we are actually very good at staying on code. A good example of us staying on code would be the Glorilla and Mariah the Scientist beef. Even in the midst of Glorilla beefing with Mariah the Scientist, she still made it a point to not come down too hard on Mariah the Scientist's appearance. You know why? Because their phenotypes are not that far off. Their skin tones are not that far off. Their noses are not that far off. Their eye colors, their facial features, their ancestry, what their family members look like is not that far off. So I think one of the advantages the exoticals have is we're better at staying on code. And by the way, Keke Palmer actually came on and responded, and she said that the whole reason she created that show was so she could support as many black producers and directors as possible. So the black female community on the internet spent decades shouting from the abyss, saying, we need more representation, we need more black women representation. And then here you have a show where you've got black women on the cast, you got black women in the background, like producing it and filming it, doing the editing and everything. And then now you got other black women on TikTok saying, oh no, we don't like this. This isn't good enough. It needs to be canceled immediately. 0 out of 10. And then I even saw a comment where somebody said Keke is not like us. So they're literally trying to cancel out an unambiguous black woman's blackness because they don't like that she put an Asian girl as the main character on the show. So it's like, do you see why a lot of people do not support the black female community? Because when you have a black female, Keke Palmer, and all these other people who are behind the show, you have them trying to support, then you have people kicking them out of blackness, basically saying, because you're rich and successful and now you put an Asian woman on the cast. And then there are also black women who are saying that Keke Palmer is not qualified to tell the story of an Asian woman attending an HBCU because, Keke Palmer is not Asian. There are rumors that the Asian actress, some people are saying that she is Blasian. I'm not sure if that's true. I couldn't confirm that. But that's interesting that you've got fellow black women admitting that Keke Palmer, she can't tell the stories of Asian women. Okay, so then why do we have unambiguous black women on the internet trying to tell the stories of multiracial women? If the argument is that you have to be the same race and phenotype in order to produce movies about that person or TV shows, then that means that black women not having representation, it would be other black women's fault then, right? If you are only allowed to produce TV shows about people from your own ethnicity, well, then no wonder white Hollywood creates movies about mostly white people. So you're telling a black woman she can't talk about Asians. Okay, so then why do you expect white producers to talk about black women then? Why do you expect white male owners of record labels to represent dark-skinned black women? Do you see the hypocrisy? And then there are people online saying, why are you including an Asian woman in the show when Asian people didn't support affirmative action, Asian people own the beauty supply stores, and they're racist against black people? So they're making an argument that black people can only be segregated amongst other black people. So if you're black, you can't be in a TV show with Asians because, Asian people supported affirmative action. Do you hear the monocultural talking point coming out there? So it's like, on the one hand, you can't unite black people with Asian people, but then on the other hand, you want to unite black women with white men? Do you see the hypocrisy? Do you see how they fail to stay on code because they switch up their talking points 24/7? They can't even stick to the same talking point. And then I saw other people, they were like, "Oh, well, Keke Palmer is being tone deaf because you can't do that type of TV show in 2025." Okay, so if you're black, you now have to be limited based on the political climate. You are not allowed to do your dreams and goals. You're not allowed to create art. You're not allowed to produce TV shows depending on who the president is, depending on what's going on in politics. Do you see how they automatically put a political agenda onto Keke Palmer? Oh, well, Keke, you need to be politically aligning only with black Democrats. You can't make a show with Asian people in it because Asian people, they supported white people. Asian people, they tried to vote to end affirmative action. So politically, Asians are not our allies. So Keke Palmer, how dare you cast an Asian woman in a movie? They sound exactly like the people who were racist against Halle Bailey. Remember how they were like, "Oh, she's not my Ariel." You got black women now doing the same thing to this woman of Asian descent, saying, "Oh, well, historically Asian people don't align with us. So, we can't work with you." Meanwhile, in real life, you got thousands of black women trying to date Asian men. They're over here creating YouTube channels and courses and TikToks about how to date Asian men. So do you see this pattern where they love the men, but then they hate the women? They love to date Asian men. They pursue relationships with Asian men, but then they hate seeing an Asian woman getting an opportunity. And then I saw people getting mad because the black supporting actress in the TV show, I guess her storyline is that she can't go to college at all. She doesn't attend an HBCU. She ends up getting pregnant. And they were saying, why would you cast an Asian woman being successful going to college and then you cast the black supporting character as getting pregnant? That's stereotypical. And it's like, okay, well, what kind of TV show was Keke Palmer supposed to make? Was she only supposed to show all of the positive sides of being a black woman? I mean, getting pregnant, isn't that kind of like a normal experience that a lot of women go through? Go and watch Cynthia G's channel. She talks a lot about how a lot of black women get pregnant and then the men abandon them or whatever. And then, that's the whole premise of why you see a lot of black women joining the child-free movement. It's because historically and culturally, a lot of black women have got pregnant and missed out on opportunities. So why is it that when it's Keke Palmer putting it in a TV show, now suddenly you're offended? Do you see what I mean when I say they don't know how to stay on code? They're just mad because a woman like Keke Palmer has defied the stereotypes of what it's like to be a dark-skinned black woman. Keke Palmer reminds them of their own failures. Because you see a lot of women on YouTube saying that, "Oh, if you're black, you can't be considered beautiful. You're never going to make it in Hollywood. You have to work twice as hard to get half as much. You can't be successful." Keke Palmer defies all of those stereotypes. She's unambiguously black, she's dark-skinned, and she is a millionaire and gets to create whatever she wants. And that's what's triggering people. That's why they're going extra hard on her. And then I saw a lot of people saying, "Well, an Asian woman going to an HBCU, that story is not important enough for you to make a TV show about it." And it's like, okay, so once again, they're placing a political agenda on a fellow black woman. They're saying, no, you need to tell a more important story. You can't be carefree. You can't make comedy TV shows. You can't make young adult coming of age carefree college TV shows, Keke Palmer. That's not important enough. You need to focus your TV show on important black issues. But then when you do that, Tyler Perry is a good example of somebody who he always would make movies where it showed very controversial, very bad, very negative black issues. And then people would say, "Oh, this is depressing." What was that movie that just came out with, I think it was Taraji Henson? I forgot what it's called, but I saw that a lot of people were saying it's very negative. What was that other one where it came out about 15 years ago where it talked about black women unaliving themselves? There were 4 women in it, and I never saw it, but I heard a lot about it. So discussing mental health issues that black women have, or discussing black men in prison and all these issues, that's bad, right? Because it paints blackness in a bad light. It's bad media representation. But here on the other end of the spectrum, now suddenly they're saying, "Oh no, this is not an important enough storyline for your TV show. You need to talk about heavier topics. You need to talk about more serious black issues. Stop wasting your content, Keke Palmer. Stop wasting your production money talking about some carefree Asian girl going off to an HBCU." And then I guess in the TV show, the bully is a fat, black, dark skinned woman. And people are saying, why does she have to be the villain? Okay, who do you want the villain to be, Keisha? Who do you think the villain should have been? A light skinned woman? A white woman? Who? Who is the villain in your mind? What type of casting should Keke Palmer have done? Who should she make into the bully? Who do you stereotype as being a bully? Do you see how controlling a lot of women are over other black women? They want to control Keke Palmer's art. They want to control what she spends her money on. It's like, bitch, did you spend $500,000? Keke Palmer said that they spent like $500,000 making that show. So it's like, okay, it's their money. They get to spend their money and create whatever they want. So until you have an extra $500,000 to create your own projects, this is what it's going to be. If you don't like it, don't watch it. And I always wonder when they talk about the whole bully thing, who do you think they would have cast as a bully? Do you think they would have cast what? Like a stuck-up light-skinned woman should have been the bully at an HBCU? Who are the biggest bullies at HBCUs? I would love for Black Female YouTube to answer me that question. Answer that question. Who are the biggest bullies at HBCUs? What do they look like? What skin color do they have? What body types do they have? Because you're saying that it's not a fat, black, like dark-skinned woman. Okay, so then who is it then? Who are the bullies? Is it the stuck-up light skin? Is that the stereotype that you want to promote? Like, do you see the hypocrisy? So they're okay with stereotypes as long as you're not stereotyping their skin tone. They would rather stereotype somebody light-skinned. They want to stereotype biracials as being the bullies at an HBCU instead of stereotyping someone obese and dark-skinned. They want to stereotype the biracial supermodel, the skinny, pretty, light-skinned girl. They want her to be the bully stereotype. Oh, and by the way, I'm in the middle of editing this, so it is confirmed that the girl is actually Asian and Dominican in real life. So I don't think she is in the show. I think in the show she's supposed to be a monoracial Asian, but she has an Asian background and a Dominican background. That doesn't necessarily mean that she has blackness as a big part of her bloodline, but I just wanted to put that in here. And as far as how the Asian community is reacting to this show, I've seen a lot of Asian people online, and they're like, oh, I like the Black and Asian solidarity. So you got Asian people who are supporting Keke Palmer. They're supporting this show, and they like seeing their representation alongside Black people. But then you got the Black community like, oh, no, we don't like this. You guys need to get out of our spaces. You're hopping in and out of Blackness. Isn't that hilarious? So they're fighting so hard to learn how to divest. They're fighting so hard to become multicultural. And then when you have a TV show that is multicultural, Black and Asian, then suddenly you got Black women doubling back and saying, oh, wait, actually, no, we don't like you guys because you didn't support affirmative action. First of all, what does politics have to do with a random TV show created by Keke Palmer? And also, you do know that there are Black people out there that don't support affirmative action, right? You do know there are white people out there that didn't support affirmative action. So why are you randomly bringing smoke to Asian people right now? Do you see how they're trying to just bring up something random so they can cancel this Asian actress? And then I saw some Black women commenting saying, we can't have solidarity with people who historically look down on us. So she's talking about Asian people. Okay, so that confirms my talking point, which is that anytime you hear Black people say, hey, your Asian side won't accept you, your white side won't accept you, it's projection. Because you got Black women commenting right now saying that, they don't feel accepted enough by Asians. They don't feel accepted enough by Asians to feel comfortable sharing a TV show with them. So the same way that they feel about light-skinned or biracial or white people, they're now saying they feel that way about Asians as well. So they're monocultural, just like I said. So it's fine if you enjoy your Blackness, but a lot of people, they need to admit that they're just Black supremacists. That's what it is. They are Black supremacists. They're monocultural, Afrocentric Black supremacists. They only want to be around dark-skinned Black people. They only want the show to have dark-skinned Black people. And by the way, that's all performative because we know damn well that if they were to create shows with all dark-skinned Black people, especially Black American people, they wouldn't even watch it. They wouldn't watch it. Because like I said, a lot of Black women don't like seeing their own images. And by the way, I'm talking about Black American in this case. If they created an HBCU TV show where everybody in the cast is dark-skinned, the main girl, all the men, the bullies are dark-skinned, all the teachers are dark-skinned, they wouldn't watch it. Name one Black American television show that has all dark-skinned people in it, not one light-skinned person in the cast, and it's Black American, and it's focused on HBCUs, where everybody's dark-skinned. The love interest is dark-skinned. Name one. It doesn't exist. The only time they'll watch shows with all dark-skinned people is if it's a fictional place, like Wakanda, or if it's like some sort of African, it can't be Black American. And then I also saw some people who were like, oh, I can't wait for Black people to stop fighting for POC solidarity. So they don't want solidarity with other people of color. And they're like, oh, Black people are the only ones that care about POC solidarity. And it's not true because Asian people are supporting Keke Palmer right now. And then people are like, well, who is Keke Palmer trying to target? Who is her target audience? Obviously, it's Black people and Asian people. So if all the Black people were to stop supporting it, that's fine. It can just be a show for Asian people. Then the same Black women would get really mad. Because then they'd be like, oh, hell no, you're making a show for Asian women? How dare you make a show for Asian women, Keke Palmer? How dare you add Asian women to your core audience? And by the way, you guys have to remember Keke Palmer very much wants to be multicultural. I don't know that much about Keke Palmer, but I do know that she either is multicultural or wants to be multicultural because her ex, her baby daddy, I don't remember what his mix is, but she clearly likes multicultural men. And then, she's casting a multicultural Asian woman as the main character. So Keke Palmer's out here supporting the exotical community. She's out here supporting the exotical community, birthing exotical babies, and she casted a Dominican and Asian woman as the main character in her show. And that's the real reason why you got a lot of unambiguous Black women mad. That's why they're mad. It's because Keke Palmer is giving an opportunity to somebody who, in their mind, benefits from isms like racism. And another bad social climbing tactic that I see is that you got a lot of Black women calling other Black women tone deaf. And it's like, okay, well, what are the rules of Blackness? What kind of rule does a Black woman have to follow in order to prove that they're not tone deaf? Do they have to cast everybody dark-skinned? Do they have to not make TV shows at all? Because they said, oh, well, Keke Palmer, she can't make this show with this political climate. Okay, fine. So now they can't even produce television shows because, Trump is in office. So they got to wait 4 years. They got to wait 8 years. They need to delay all of their creative projects until there's a different political climate, as if the political climate is going to get better and better as time goes on. What climate does a woman have to be in politically in order for her to create a TV show? Do you see the bad social climbing tactics? You've got a lot of women who have this crabs in a bucket mentality. They see a woman who's Black, they want to tear her down. They want to humble her. They want her to prove that she's down with other Black women. And it's like, what does that even mean? First of all, listen to the language they're using. You need to prove that you're down with me. Down where? Down here at the bottom of society? Down here at the bottom of Hollywood? What do you want Keke Palmer to do? Cancel the TV show? Then all those Black people wouldn't have jobs. So is that what you would rather have happen? Her to cancel the whole thing? And then everybody just stops getting paid? So do you see what I mean? There's this constant complaining, but they never offer any solutions. What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.